You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimpson.
Arkansas fell to the number 9 ranked Tennessee Volunteers on the road. Arkansas had a lead early into the second half and after half. However, the Volunteers came back to win it 79-74. But there was a lot to take away from this game, even though the Razorbacks weren't able to come out on top and finish strong. I think there's multiple factors of why they lost, and I think there's multiple factors on why they competed against the number 9 ranked team in the nation. But, starting off, the good, bad, and ugly as always. The good. We did pretty good shooting and scoring. 36 points in the paint, much better on layups, 16 out of 28. And that's in comparison to the Missouri game where we were 3 out of 22. So you see improvement there. And then Vance Jackson, the forward, stepped up big time in the absence of Justin Smith, who is still out with that injury. He was 50% from the floor with 14 points and 9 rebounds, arguably the MVP for this game. Him coming off the bench and getting 33 minutes was big for the Razorbacks. His game is so similar to Smith's that he's able to fit this role with the team, and assuming he keeps this trend up and keeps getting playing time, the team's going to go much better with him. 45.2 scoring percentage when we have the ball, pretty good there. 42% from the floor, much better in comparison to the 25 from Missouri, and then 40% from 3 as well. We only got to the line 10 times, but we made 8 of those, 80% on the line. And we put a lot of points up against a pretty good Tennessee team that is mainly focused on defense. Putting up 74 points on the road in SEC play is very impressive, but overall, there's a lot of other things like turnovers, which is the ugly. The bad was we had a lot of starting guards struggle. Moses Moody only had 6 points despite being out there for 38 minutes. He's been leading the team in points per game, and when you don't have your best shooter and really leader in points per game putting up high numbers or at least some double digits or what's close to the contribution he makes each game, you're going to struggle. And then guard Dizzy Sills didn't have a good game either. He was on the floor for 18 minutes and was 0 for 1. He didn't really take that many shots. But when you have starters, that are usually shooting guards and they don't put up points, guard play is going to be struggle. However, I think Moses Moody is still a really talented shooter, and I think guard Desi Sills is also really talented. I just feel like Sills didn't like the looks he was getting, so he's passing the ball around, which is completely okay. And, the passes for him are really smart. And even though he's not putting up points, I think he's still, fitting in this rotation pretty well because he's getting the passes and things like that. And then Moody just had an off night. However, I'm not really concerned about this at all because we have a lot of guards off of the bench. And then we also have off nights. And, guy can just have an off night. That happens sometimes. But the ugly was turning over the ball and not being able to force turnovers. Tennessee does a really good job forcing turnovers and getting steals for themselves. However, that being said, we've still played really bad. And frankly, ugly basketball is the term when the ball is just flying around the court and, making bad decisions there. 20 total turnovers for Arkansas, only forcing 5 turnovers, and it's just a rough night when your turnover percentage is above 25%. You're not going to win many games on the road. Arkansas has never been unranked and beat a ranked team on the road. That's just something that is hard to do in the SEC and D1 basketball, and Arkansas's never been able to do it. You got to limit turnovers, but it was a rough night mainly because of that. And then you're also playing a really good team in Tennessee. And I know the turnovers are concerning, especially from the guards. I just think a lot of people are like, oh, this is going to be a problem all year. It wasn't a problem against Missouri, who's a good defensive team. So I think sometimes you have issues you run into early in the season, and you correct them and move on. I think this is just going to be one of them. Shooting against Missouri was like 26%. On shooting versus Tennessee was 52%. So you work on issues and you fix those. I put all my faith into head coach Eric Musselman to get these issues fixed. He's a fantastic head coach. A lot of our issues from Missouri have already been fixed. Points leader was guard JT Note, and he's moving into a point game role. This is not something he, used to have before he came to Arkansas. However, he's been emerging into that spot, and as time goes on, he's going to get more comfortable there and be able to limit his turnovers there. But he was a really good shooter, especially off the bench. Kind of reminds me of Sills last year. Coming off the bench, always hot, provide that energy. He's getting better and has made massive moves in his shot selection since the last game. 7 out of 11 from the floor and 2 from 4 from the three, showing that he's taking smarter shots as he's making a lot of them. But like I said, I wouldn't push the panic button on turnovers. I think they'll just start to minimize himself as he feels better in the point game role when he's out there on the court. However, lots of improvements since last game for him. Rebounds leader was forward Vance Jackson. This was his best game since Mississippi Valley State, the opener to the season. He got 33 minutes, and I don't think he's gotten that really all season. I might be wrong there, but I think that so. He's playing a lot better and has earned the trust of the coaching staff. Like I say all the time, he plays the most similar game to Justin Smith, and he's able to hold his, and he's able to play good defense. I think he'll be out there for a good amount of time, and will be able, to take that starting power forward spot. However, Justin Smith's injury is going pretty well. Coach Muss said that the swelling isn't as bad as they anticipated, so hopefully we can get him back because he's a very talented grad transfer out of Indiana, playing an immediate impact in those non-conference games. Assist leader was guard Jalen Tate. He had 6 of them, and he was really good at spreading the ball around, creating passes, and also had a late 3. However, he had 6 turnovers, and turnovers are an issue tonight for a lot of the guards and some of the forwards. But like I said, I feel like this is a fixable issue, and I'm not going to be concerned about it until it becomes a trend. But do not react to 2 top 25 games without Justin Smith on the team. Missouri's a top 25 team. I don't know if they'll be that in the poll after the rankings, but regardless, we played them when they were ranked number 13. We play Tennessee when they're ranked number 9. We lose to Missouri because of poor shooting, and we lose to Tennessee because of turnovers. These are fixable things. This team has the capability. We've seen it this season against Auburn. We've seen it in the non-conference, even though those are not as good as opponents as we are now. An easier schedule is ahead. And then also, you're getting later into the season, your rotation better, which guys to use, because a lot of these guys are, they're freshmen or they're transfers. They really haven't been playing with each other for a while. So, you just got to be patient and understand that the schedule is going to get a lot easier, and I think a lot of people are going to be more satisfied. Do not hit the panic button yet, though. Tennessee and Missouri are really good teams dominated by big guys in the paint, and when you lose a power forward like Justin Smith, that doesn't help you. The Hogs look to rebound against the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday, January 9th at 2:30 p.m. on SEC Network. Hogs are playing at Bud Walton Arena, and there's a maximum 4,000 fans let in Bud Walton Arena due to COVID stuff. But Arkansas, obviously 9-2, off 2 losses to ranked teams. However, some things that they got to do well against Georgia to get a win. They got to be able to limit turnovers. And I feel like from watching a little bit of film, there's a couple things that they may be able to do, such as, take one less dribble out of the step, open up pick and roll situations. It's a fixable issue. Also, sometimes it can just be handles and just, passing selection. I think it's going to get better because you saw shooting against Missouri. You saw shooting against Tennessee. We looked like a whole different team. Got to trust the coaching staff. However, things we did well against Tennessee need to keep up here. Rebounding. We out-rebounded Tennessee by double rebounds. That's something that's unheard of last year. You get rebounds, you're going to win a lot more games. Get second chance points. Things like that. Shooting was a lot better. And then just keeping up those same trends at the Tennessee game, really outside of turnovers. We were good three-point shooters. We were good off the floor. We were good when we went to the line. Keeping things like that, make sure they don't turn into issues like they did against Missouri. Just be consistent and play that type of basketball. The starting 5 versus Tennessee, though, was guard Moses Moody. I think he will play again. I think he's also going to have a rebound game as well. I think he's just one of those top 10 lottery picks that is just so good that he's not going to go multiple nights cold from the floor. Guard Jalen Tate. Guard Desi Sills started last game. I expect a bounce-back game from him because you just look at the times he shot 3 in the Auburn game and things like that. He has it in him as well. Forward Connor Vanor started against Tennessee, and this one's always a little tricky. I don't know who's going to start, but last game it was forward Jalen Williams, and then it could be forward Vance Jackson, who earned himself 33 minutes in the Tennessee game, and then 2 games ago it was guard Devo Davis. I think the Razorbacks will go with Vance Jackson here. That's my prediction, just because Vance Jackson had a really good performance against Tennessee. But off the bench, always look for guard J.D. Note. He's always going to come off the bench and put shots on the board and things like that. Play that point guard role. Guard K.K. Robinson, he had a foot injury, and he practiced. You saw it on Twitter that he was with the team and such. But, you don't know how much he did and whatnot. Also, other guys to watch off the bench is forward Jalen Williams, who got his first start. If he doesn't make a start, there's just a lot of if, and buts in the scenario because we don't know who's starting. However, getting bench points always important in SEC play. Now the Georgia Bulldogs are 7-2. They're 0-2 to start SEC play. They lost to Mississippi State by 10, and then lost to LSU in overtime by 2, and a questionable no call that was ruled on the baseline, but it really didn't look like he touched it. But anyway, they played a really easy non-conference, just like Arkansas. However, this team is playing a lot better team basketball in comparison to last year. Last year was kind of, let's just pray Anthony Edwards throws up a shot and makes it, and it worked out to some extent for them. Xavier Wheeler, the guard, plays the most minutes for the Dogs. He's the points leader at 13.7. Very impressive number next is he's the assist leader at 7.7. Not many guys will pass the ball around that much and still be the leading scorer as well. This is a guy that the Razorbacks are going to put a lot of focus on to limiting. They've done pretty good of limiting the other team's top player. You watch against Auburn, Justin Powell was a points leader, rebounds leader, assist leader, and we limited him very nicely and escaped with a 12-point road win. We've played well versus some good guards this year, so I think limiting his role for the Dogs is important for the Razorbacks to get a win here. In the starting 5 for Georgia from last game, guard Ty Fagan, guard Justin Keir. He had 25 points last game versus LSU, looking to keep up that hot streak. Forward PJ Horn. Forward Too Many Kamara. He is the rebounds leader on this team at 8.9 per game. This is a guy that is going to be in the paint all night. And for the forwards to play well against him is important because you don't want to have another situation like Tillman from Missouri where we were getting dominated in the paint, and they ultimately won the game off of that. Off the bench for the Dogs, forward Andrew Garcia and forward Christian Brown. They have a lot of forward depth that Arkansas is going to have to watch out for just because we're missing one of our best players on the team who's also a forward. So you got to watch out for these forward depths and make sure your guards play their best ball. 7 to 10 man rotation likely for the Bulldogs in this game. The Dogs did pretty good against LSU, forcing 16 turnovers. However, themselves turned it over 22 times, but you got to remember there was also an overtime there at LSU. And, they're not going to be as good as Tennessee is forcing turnovers just because Tennessee is one of the best teams in the nation to do it. And then also they turn over the ball a good amount, so we'll be able to get points off of turnovers because against Tennessee, we had none. But this team was unable to stop the shooting guard Cameron Thomas, who is likely going to the NBA, and another guy in Arkansas is likely going to the NBA if he chooses, is guard Moses Moody. So it might be an issue if they are unable to stop him like they were against Cameron Thomas. Right after this, I'll be back with my prediction for this game. Hogs win 79-68. I got bounce back game for Sills. Think he's going to show how good he was off the bench and show glimpses of that. I think we're going to control the turnover game a lot better. You just look at the issues from the Missouri game and how we responded to those. I feel like turnovers are being emphasized in practice this week. Fixing those is important, and I think they'll get it done. It could be a turning point in the season as well. You go 1-2 in SEC play and you lose to 2 ranked teams, and, fans are going to overreact and things like that. However, I think this Georgia game is going to restore a lot of confidence and show that, we're a good team and we're going to have a lot easier games within the SEC to play. The SEC really isn't the best basketball conference this year. And then I think Vance Jackson has another pretty good game and shows how he's going to earn that playing time until Justin Smith is going to get back. Defensive performance is needed from him, and if he can strive on that, I have no doubt that he could be our starting power forward till we get Smith back. But the model prediction from HaslowMetrics.com has Arkansas winning 84